I want to talk about, where is it? There it is. I want to talk about this tweet that came out from, I don't know what this is. What is this group that does this? Real evidence against the claims of the left's narrative. Oh, so I should probably follow them. We'll give them a follow. Eyes inside the classroom. That's what it is. Is this Teachers Exposed? I don't know if this is Teachers Exposed or if this is someone new. Teachers Exposed always gets banned on Twitter. They've come back like 3 or 4 times. Someone tell me if this is Teachers Exposed. I don't think so, because Teachers Exposed usually follows me. Anyway, they posted these images on Twitter that I just wanted to take a quick look at. Kindergarten sex ed lesson plan in Washington State. The vagina has great elasticity and can adjust to the size of a penis. Okay, let's take a look at what Washington State is teaching kindergarteners. Now we can see this is a lesson curriculum called Understanding Our Bodies, the Basics. A lesson planned from rights, respect, responsibility, a K through 12 curriculum. And we know this is for kindergarteners because I don't know if you guys can see this. It's a little bit hard to see. I understand. But it says right here, target grade, kindergarten, lesson 2. Let's read. A note on language. You will notice that this lesson refers to girls and boys and male and female when identifying body parts. Lessons in higher grades use more precise language and begin to introduce a broader concept of gender. So that means that they start to degender the language as kids get older. This lesson does, however, acknowledge that there are some body parts that are mostly just girls and some parts that mostly just boys have. Being a boy or girl doesn't have to mean you have those parts. But for most people, this is how their bodies are. And most people have a vulva and a vagina or a penis and testicles. But some people's bodies can be different. Your body is exactly what it is right for you. This is for kindergarteners. Kindergarteners. A note on concepts. You will learn the terms and concepts used in this lesson are very simple, recognizing that for many, provided more detail might be controversial at this grade level, you think? If you are in a setting where using more detailed anatomical drawings is possible for kindergarten, we recommend using the diagrams found in It's Not the Stork, a book about boys or girls, boys, babies, and bodies, families, and friends. A more in-depth version of the same lesson appears in the curriculum for grade 2. Oh, that's good. Learning objectives. By the end of this lesson, kindergarten students will be able to correctly identify at least 3 body parts of the female, namely the nipples, the vulva, and the anus. They will be able to correctly identify at least 3 body parts of the male, namely the nipples, the penis, and the anus. They will be able to describe why it is important for them to know the correct names for the genitals. Procedure. Step 1. Introduce the topic saying, today we're going to talk about bodies, including parts that everyone has in common, parts that we have that are different, and parts that are usually covered when we were in public. Explain that it's also important that everyone with a body knows how their body parts work and how to take care of it so that we can all be healthy. Step 2. Ask students to name the body parts that most people have in common. Let's see. Note to teacher, student answers might include most everyone has, like arms, feet, legs, fingers, head, eyes, and mouth. Some students may mention that not everyone has 2 arms or all 10 fingers. Acknowledge this by saying that is true, that not everyone is exactly the same, and everyone's body is fine just the way it is, but most people have 2 arms, 10 fingers, etc. Lesson 3. Tell students there are some body parts that mostly just girls have, and some parts that mostly just boys have. These body parts, which are usually covered by clothing or a bathing suit, are sometimes called private parts or genitals. And today we want to make sure everyone knows the correct term for these parts and who has what body part. Direct students' attention to the PowerPoint where you have displayed the first slide. Explain that during the summer, when people go swimming, people generally wear bathing suits to cover their genitals. Explain that when we wash our bodies or go to the doctor for a checkup, it's important to know what our body parts are and how to keep them healthy. Display the next slide saying our bodies have lots of different parts like our head, our chest, our belly button, hand, and leg. Let's look at some parts we don't often learn as much about. Point out the following. Most girls have a vulva, which is the name for the area between the legs. The vulva describes the whole area, including the small hole where urine or pee comes out, called the opening to the urethra, the hole below that, which is a little bit bigger, and is called the vagina, that is used when a female has a baby, and the hole below that, where a bowel movement or poop comes out, called the anus. So a person with a vulva has 3 holes between their legs and a very sensitive little area at the top called the clitoris. Holy shit. Why is Washington State teaching 5-year-olds? I mean, you actually have to respect the game in some respects. Washington State is literally teaching 5-year-olds how to find a clit better than most men will ever learn how to do in their lives. It's wrong. They shouldn't be teaching this to 5-year-olds. I mean, I would have absolutely no problem with a sex ed lesson around 16 teaching men like the very same thing because it is a very helpful skill that many of them, not the gay ones, but the straight ones will need later in life. But it's a little bit concerning that they're teaching this at 5 years old. 4, advance to the third slide and tell the class they need help to review the names of those body parts. Apparently there's nothing controversial there. Let's keep going. Oh, never mind. Hang on. Let's go back. Step 5, advance to the next slide 4 and explain the following. Most boys have a penis between their legs, which they use to urinate or pee. Some boys have a foreskin, which is a piece of skin that covers the end of the penis, and some boys do not. A boy also has a hole where a bowel movement or poop leaves the body called the anus. Just like a girl, boys have nipples on their chest, but they usually do not cover their nipples or chest when they are wearing a bathing suit. Even though both boys and girls have nipples, a boy's chest does not grow into breasts once he goes through puberty. If anyone wants to share in the chat whether or not they have a foreskin, now would be, I suppose, the time. Since we're trying to normalize this language, if anyone wants to share how many holes they have between their legs or how those holes or how their body parts comport themselves, go to town. Go to town. Mount that like button while you're doing it, please. And then we'll skip down to step 7. Explain to students that they may have heard different words to refer to their genitals, such as the penis or the vulva. Ask for a few examples of other words students have heard for these body parts. Oh my God. Note 86 says his foreskin was stolen from him. I'm very sorry for your loss. Very sorry. Step 8. Conclude the lesson by asking students, can anyone tell me a body part that most girls have but boys do not? The vulva. Can anyone tell me a body part that most boys have but most girls do not? The penis. Well, isn't this nice? And then they've got some teacher resources where it says the vagina has great elasticity and can adjust to the size of the penis. And then they say, for men, when people talk about an erection as a boner, they're mistaken because they're trying to make the point that the penis does not have bones in it. And so calling it a boner is mistaken. Certainly a lesson that 5-year-olds need. Are you kidding me? I felt embarrassed just reading this. Did anyone else start to I'm not a prude about I tell you guys to mount the like button. I'm not a prude about sex in any way, shape, or form. I've literally talked about critical dominatrix theory on this channel on multiple occasions. I'm not a prude about this at all, except when you're teaching 5-year-olds about the clit. That seems wrong to me. It seems inappropriate. Why are we teaching kindergarteners this? They don't need to know it. I'm sorry. They don't fucking need to know it. Oh my god. This Burlington, this right here. You bet, I bet you this shit is going on in the Burlington school districts. I bet you this is going on in Burlington as well. My god. My god. All right, guys. Well, if you are as disturbed by that as I am, you can find these full images and you can see for yourself. I definitely retweeted this, so it should be in my Twitter feed somewhere. But just in case you don't feel like scrolling through my copious amount of tweets, you can find this at EITC_official on Twitter. And you can see for yourself that I read that pretty accurately and that I didn't make anything up.